What's up, hockey fans? Welcome to another edition of Just Winging It, as we are now in the 40s, I believe. I think this is episode 42, and this is today the third guest that we've had on the show that is making their second appearance on the show. First of all, we had Tony Will, the governor and director of business operations. We've had head coach Nick Bootland on a couple times. Now for the second time, welcome back, assistant coach of your K-Wings, Joel Martin. Joel, thanks for doing this. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
It's been 9 months since we last had you on the show. What's new? How's the family doing?
They're good. The boys are still fully remote here doing school from home. So we're navigating through that challenge best we can. The wife is doing some tutoring online, helping out students that need help through KPS. And I'm just kind of helping out when I can with the boys, and then doing work here with the guys when I can as well.
I've kind of thought about that as a parent during a pandemic. Does it kind of force you to have to become a teacher a little bit? I mean, put on your teaching shoes, working with them at home. I know they still have classes and stuff, whether virtually or in person, but for you guys.
Yeah, it definitely does a little bit. Most of it is trying to keep them on task and on point, making sure they're getting to their class on time, and then that they're staying in their seat because they want to wander and grab a snack and go play with a toy or whatnot. So staying on top of that and just sitting with them, and then making sure they're doing their extra online projects that they need to get done. And it always seems to be a fight trying to get them to do that work, or even trying to get them to class. So like, I hate school, So the teachers are doing an awesome job teaching them, and we're just trying to make sure that they're there and doing their work.
We were all there once. I remember having those I hate school moments, but it's probably tougher when you're a younger kid in a situation like this.
Yeah, exactly. So they're handling it, I think, as best they can for their ages, and they're doing well.
Since we announced the opt-out, which was back, I think, right before the holidays, the decision was kind of a last minute. We were waiting it out, trying to see if we could play. Obviously it didn't work out with the situation here in Kalamazoo. Half the teams are out, half the teams are in. When did it sink in for you? I know the coaches were kind of kept in the loop along through the process too, but it all kind of hit us at different times when we decided we weren't going to play this season. Where'd you hear about it? When did it sink in?
Yeah, after Nick found out, he ended up giving us a call, our staff, I think maybe one by one, I can't remember. And it took a little bit. It took a few days for sure, because we were kind of going through that little process, or that slow process, trying to figure out the plan in place for having to play, and the different protocols that would be in place. So, we were fully geared up to go, and then to just hammer the brakes kind of out of nowhere a little bit caught us all by surprise, I guess.
I know you guys are pretty pumped about the team you had put together for training camp too. You were pretty excited about the guys that you had brought in. And obviously those guys became free agents after we decided to opt out. We'll get into the news that the league just put out recently about the rights coming back to us being retained. But I guess initially, where'd you guys shift your focus as a coaching staff, seeing some teams on the ice playing, and now, as you said, you had to kind of hit the brakes all at once? Did you take time to yourself to kind of regroup, or did you guys shift your focus somewhere to start preparing already for next season?
Well, we definitely took a minute there, but then it gave us an opportunity to kind of work on all those projects that you always say you don't have time to do during a regular year, regular off season. So just trying to make ourselves better, I think, so we can be the best we can be for our athletes. So working on different projects, game plan stuff, and then shifting here into recruiting and scouting different players and different teams as well.
How much hockey have you guys watched? Be honest, as a staff, do you guys focus in on the recruiting levels, like college or junior, or guys that are playing right now in the ECHL maybe, or do you guys watch more NHL, AHL for different ideas?
Yeah, I think it started off with a lot of our league. We each have a few different teams that we're responsible for watching and scouting. So it's been pretty busy doing that. And then we're shifting into watching college teams and watching different seniors on those teams. And then we're all always watching the NHL whenever we get an opportunity on TV. And then with the ability of Instat that we have, if we see something we like, we can write down a time of the game and pick it up the next day and share it amongst each other. So that's been pretty cool tool for us to have as well.
There was a lot of discussion and debate about what's going to happen with the players. Would it be fair to let teams kind of stack the deck going into the offseason, the ones that are playing, and then force the teams sitting out to have to build from scratch? Or is it going to be fair to let the teams that are sitting out get their players back? And ultimately, I think it was pretty close to unanimous, I'm sure, that they decided the team sitting out will get their players back, at least the rights in the negotiating process this offseason. How much easier does that make things for you guys? How happy are you with the results of that?
Yeah, like you said, we liked the team that we had recruited this past summer. So I think that's a good starting block for us there. But then we have to navigate through what players have now decided to move on from hockey because there's not a lot of jobs now, and what guys want to continue to play, and who's playing and who's not that wants to play. So I think there won't be probably 100% retention there with all those players. But at least it's a starting point, which is better than nothing. So that's huge for sure for us. So we're excited about that and definitely expect to see a few of those guys in our lineup next year.
Are you able to get at least a good read from some guys through the process on what their intentions are? Do you guys keep in touch with some of those players? I know there's probably a little bit of it's a little dicey when it comes to tampering rules, obviously, for guys that are playing right now. But is that something that you guys have kind of made a focus to see where everybody's head is early in the process?
Yeah, definitely early on, we reached out to every player that we had. We had a team meeting and let them all know when we weren't playing, and then reached out separately after that, or individually, I guess, to each player as well. And that was an opportunity to, gain a little knowledge on what they're thinking and what they're hoping for. And a couple guys at that point said they were done. And then a few guys have moved on and started playing elsewhere. So that's a good sign for players that probably want to keep playing. And then there's some guys who've said they want to continue to play and haven't quite found something yet. So keeping an eye on those guys and seeing what happens with them here the rest of the year, because there's still some time for them to pick up with a team here or possibly overseas.
2 years into your coaching experience already, you were ready to go for year 3, and then all this happened. So now year 3 is on the horizon in October. After such a long playing career, we've been discussing players and coaches that have had a lot of success and made an impact on Kalamazoo. And I think you're at or near the top of the list for Black History Month this past month, with your playing career, having been here a long time and setting all kinds of team records. And now you're in a leadership role. And at one point, one of just 3 Black coaches in the ECHL. What does it mean to be in that leadership role? How have you kind of embraced that? Or is that something that doesn't really cross your mind when you go about your day?
Well, no, it's definitely an honor to be in a leadership role here in this organization and to be one of the few Black coaches in professional hockey. And then, like you said, at one point, one of 3 in our league. So that's an honor to try to help pave the way and follow, the guys that have gone before me as well, and now try to pave the way for guys after me.
And we had Paul Gerber on one of our shows last month, and Paul obviously has kind of paved the way in a different era, playing in the 80s and then starting his 20-plus year coaching career. He's at Nebraska Omaha right now. What's the relationship like with Paul, having both been with the K-Wings, both coaches now? And I understand you guys are on a pretty regular coaches conference call or Zoom call.
Yeah, so actually with Paul, it's funny. I went to training camp one year in Utica when he was assistant coach there. Was the first time that I met him. And then I met him down in Orlando at the PHPA meetings. He came down one year and talked there. And then he was on our coaches call this summer. A bunch of coaches we had get together on Zoom and share ideas and different things. And so got to know him a little better there on that call. And then we're both part of the BIPOC committee that the NHL Coaches Association has put together. So this whole time through all those interactions with Paul, I actually didn't know that he was a former K-wing till he was on Just Winging It. So that was pretty cool to finally figure out. And it's been great to just grow my relationship with him, as a coach, and kind of the way that we both started here as players, and I, was a player somewhat just during a training camp, but under him, and now to be kind of coaching and collaborating with him sometimes on different ideas is pretty cool.
And here in Kalamazoo too, one thing a lot of the guests that we've had on during the month have mentioned that there's a comfort level in Kalamazoo, that they felt comfortable playing here, whether it was the fans or the organization. And you played here and you were teammates with Nick Bootland, and then you played for Nick Bootland, and then Nick hired you as his assistant coach. And that relationship seems to be obviously very strong. And one thing our staff has is, when we go on the road or we work together, it's a close knit group. Is that something that you noticed right away is what attracted you to Kalamazoo? That comfort level is not having to worry about some of the, potential things you might hear or see. It was a comfort here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great community. It's a diverse community, and people are always looking out for each other, I feel like, in Kalamazoo. And I think that also within the organization, which starts at the top with our ownership, that does so many great things for this community. And then, our head coach as well, the way that he runs things. The staff we have is awesome, and the inclusion that we have is awesome. And I think the players that we've been able to bring in as well has been great. And I think it's one of the things that makes Kalamazoo great.
As a player, you play a position like goalie, and all eyes are on you. And we talked about this on our last episode, how goalies are everybody's favorite player, but they also get all the blame if things don't go well. Something that you've experienced for a 10-plus year playing career. As a goalie, how much did you see kind of that favoritism, but also when you go into opposing buildings, did you have to experience things that, quite frankly, other goalies didn't have to experience? Are there anything from your playing career that stands out that you had to kind of fight through?
Yeah, I mean, I guess one story would be when we played in the finals in Danbury. They had T-shirts made up with a picture of my face on it that said, "Have you seen Al Qaeda?" On it, and then when I go to the bench for my water break, they had the section behind the bench that would chant "terrorist," So it's definitely something that most goalies or most players don't have to deal with. So I remember their owner ended up banning those shirts and trying to keep them out of the rink best they could, and he came and personally apologized to me. So that was pretty cool, but definitely a different situation for sure.
That's just amazing to me that in the late 2000s that was still existing. I mean, I'm not surprised given what we've seen kind of with even the current days with Keandre Miller and what he had have happened to him in the Zoom call. Racism's obviously still a thing today, but for something like that to happen in 2000, what was it, 2009 in the championship?
0506.
So 0506. It's that's really unfortunate. Glad the owner stepped in.
Pardon me?
I said I'm glad the owner stepped in and banned them, but
yeah, for sure. And I think the world's come a long way even since then. Like you say, it's not that long ago, and I think that it's come a long way in the 15, 16 years, I think, since then. And as long as we keep continuing to trend in the right direction and making change and trying to make sure everybody feels included, then I think that's a good thing.
How important is it, do you think, to continue to have conversations about diversity, good conversations and conversations, learning and growth conversations to make this game more welcoming going forward? Because as you said, a lot of steps have been taken and there's a lot of progress that's been made.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. And I think that everybody just wants to be treated equal, no matter the color of your skin or your sexual orientation or your religion, So once we realize that we're all human and we can start treating each other the same, then I don't think we should stop trying to make change and continuing to talk about it.
The fans in Kalamazoo, we've talked about it before, but they've supported you and your family your whole career, playing, coaching. Your family's been here for a while now, and you carved out obviously a successful playing career here. Looking back on the relationship with some of the fans, I know it's at this level too, it's more personal. You meet a lot more fans than you do up the ladder. But the strength of that relationship for you, how nice has it been to really be able to call Kalamazoo home, being somebody from a town far away in Canada?
Yeah, it's awesome. It is what we call home now, and I haven't been back home in like 6 years now. We had plans to go this summer that obviously didn't work out, but yeah, the people here make it special. Fans that become friends, and people you can count on or call when you have a problem. Is awesome. So, and then, anything you can do to help people as well, or brighten someone's day, is always an honor as well.
I know you like to teach as well. Part of the reason you're in coaching is to teach the next players and goaltenders in line. What's one piece of advice you give to young kids in sports, regardless of their background, that is important if they want to go into sports or have a successful sports career?
Yeah, I think one, you got to love what you're doing and have fun doing it. That's number one for me. And then number two would just be work hard. That's something that doesn't take any talent and anybody can do. So that would be number two for me, I think. And then number three would just be follow your dreams. If there's something you want to do, then chase it. Don't let anything get in your way, and chase it as far as long as you can or want. And don't let other people tell you can't or discourage you from chasing your dreams.
On that note, I wanted to go back to something I meant to ask you about earlier, but with our players that are currently playing, one of them specifically, Jake Hildebrand, has done big things in Florida so far. I know he was dialed in to come back to Kalamazoo for a third year. Nick Bootland has mentioned how valuable you've been to Jake's career and teaching him some things, and Jake's echoed that. How much have you watched of him? And I know he won goaltender of the week a couple of weeks back. He's killing it down there.
Yeah, it's awesome to see him having a ton of success down there. I've watched a few of his games now since he's been down there, and yeah, he's playing awesome and getting a great opportunity to play down there. But he's so talented, and he does a ton on his own too to make himself better in the summertime. His training, different guys that he skates with, working on his technical game. So I just try to help him when I can when he's here, but he's doing a bunch on his own, and he deserves all the credit for the success that he's having. That's for sure.
Quick question about the other Jake from last year's team, Jake Kiley. We had him on a show recently. I know he was in Vancouver's camp. He credits you and the Vancouver Canucks goalie coaches for helping him through his rookie year. I know he had some ups and downs statistically as a rookie, but he's playing in Utica now and getting some minutes. Is the sky the limit for Jake Kiley, given his work ethic and his professionalism?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great starting point for a young kid, right? I think that's something that a lot of young kids lack is the professionalism and sometimes their attitude. So he's way ahead of the curve there. Big kid, a lot of skill. So like you said, I do think the sky's the limit. I've talked to him too, but just before they started their season up there, to just try to encourage him and let him know that we're watching down here in Kalamazoo and cheering for him. So we hope he does great things there in Utica and continues to have some success and possibly stay with the organization or just keep moving up the ladder.
I want to shift at the end of this interview to one thing we're both interested in and we can't wait for is golf season to roll back around, because now we've gone almost over a year with no hockey. A full winter, a lot of snow this winter, and I'm itching to get back on the course. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I am. I just got a brand new pair of golf shoes the other day that I'm really excited about. So I started putting in my living room the other day and looking at the golf course every day I drive by when I'm coming here to work. But I saw somebody cross country skiing out there today, so it might be a little while until we get out there, but I don't know. There's quite a bit of sunshine in the forecast here, so I'm excited, but you said you're golfing down there in Arizona, so you're going to have to give us some strokes here when you get back.
I was kind of hoping to hide that, but I guess my background didn't really do me any favors. I was kind of hoping to sneak in and hustle you guys a little bit.
Yeah. Nope, 10 strokes and 9.
Hey man, I still have to redeem myself from our all-staff golf outing up in Traverse City last summer. So you guys kind of took me to school last summer. So this summer I'm looking to focus a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think we're all going to have Mitch start giving us strokes because I think he won all the money there that weekend.
Most improved award, Mitch McLeod, that guy. Are you an optimist or a pessimist? What's your prediction? First round of golf this year. When's it going to happen?
I was hoping next week. So
Yeah.
Mid-March, by March 15th.
I love it. Thanks for doing this, man. I appreciate it. It's been good chatting with you again. I know it's been a while. Wish we were traveling on those buses to wherever. But
yeah, absolutely, JP. Me too.
Thanks again, and maybe we'll have to get you on a third show if we can't get a hold of your buddy Jordan Bennington anytime soon.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to be on, and yeah, we'll go for number 3 here. It feels like a host for SNL trying to rack up the appearances. So
there's an idea. Joe Martin, everybody.